Okay, our first rudiment is the single stroke roll. I have this in tier number 1 on my rudiment learning sequence or chart that I have. This is the very first rudiment that you should learn. Don't start with the flam drag, don't start with the radical, start with the single stroke roll. What we're basically doing here, if you're just first picking up the sticks, any drummer can learn the rudiments. All right, the single stroke roll is basically alternating single strokes. So the goal is to be able to play single strokes fast enough that it sounds like a roll. And of course, that will apply on almost every percussion instrument. If you're playing marimba, that becomes your roll on marimba, on timpani, on bass drum, on concertons. We're all often going to be playing rolls. Certainly applies to drum set as you're playing single strokes around the kit. Now, if you're just getting started, first thing you should learn how to do is play rebound strokes on each hand separately. So what I'm doing here is I'm throwing the stick at the head. As it strikes the head, it pushes back up. Now, I want to keep a relaxed grip, right? Try not to squeeze the back fingers. In fact, you should feel that the stick has wiggle room between the palm of the hand and the back fingers. So as I'm moving my stick up and down, you'll feel that stick hitting finger and palm back and forth. So before you even start the single stroke roll, make sure that you have great sounding rebound strokes on both hands. Now at a slow tempo, I'm really trying to isolate my wrist. I'm not really trying to pump my arm, okay? I'm trying to just get as even and as relaxed a stroke as possible. You really want to think all the way through these rudiments, very soft hands. If you're squeezing your hand, then you're going to introduce tension, which is going to keep you from getting faster. So as I'm playing, my single strokes, all I'm doing is trying to play very relaxed, letting those sticks rebound up every single stroke. Very much recommend that you start with the bronze level play along or watch the video, all right, and play along at a steady tempo. Now we have something in all of our rudiments called the open, close, open. Basically that means that we're going to start very slowly. We're going to speed up to the fastest tempo we can possibly play. We're going to hold it for a second and then we're going to slow back down. I would not recommend that you do that yet. That is something that's more of an advanced skill. If you get to the platinum level or even at the top of the gold level, you can start trying to apply your open, close, open. But for the first thing that you need to do is go to that very first bronze level, and all I'm doing is playing along with a cool drum set groove. I'm just trying to make sure that every stroke sounds the same, whether I'm starting on my right or starting on my left. Here's where the critical listening skills come in. As I'm playing, not only am I watching my sticks, it's really helpful to practice in front of a mirror, but not only am I watching my sticks, making sure they're hitting right in the center, but I'm also watching the height of the stick. All right, making sure that my sticks are even, so if I'm right-handed, I don't favor my right hand, all right? Also, listen to the sound that you're producing off of the drum, okay? Especially right at the very beginning, you might hear that your left hand or your weaker hand, even if you have the same height on the stick, strokes may be uneven, either in sound or in tempo. So listen to the sound, make sure that you're playing with the same velocity of stroke, meaning your speed of stroke. on both hands. I really recommend that you start off your left hand even more, especially if you're right-handed. Start off on your left hand every single time. On the video, I alternate starting on my right, starting on my left, back and forth. But I would recommend starting on your left every single time. That puts your left hand on the strong beats and makes it much easier to develop some strength behind your weaker hand. All right, now you might notice too that I'm also playing all the way up here. That's why I like playing on a practice pad, so I don't annoy my family. Because the bigger the strokes, the more motion that you're going to be making with your hands. So you want to make sure that you're playing a good big sound out of the pad or the drum, right? So a good amount of velocity, speed of stroke, and also force, which is the impact that I'm making. I'm making a big impact with the practice pad. All right, so work your way through those first couple levels. After you get to an intermediate level and you get to the advanced part of the silver or even in the gold, there's going to be a point where that height and that velocity and that force is not really sustainable, right? So you really want to kind of work towards getting a big sound. Because again, I'm using a lot of wrist motion, but as you get faster, lower those sticks a bit and start using your back fingers. So instead of pounding, all right, what you don't want to do, you want to relax those hands even more and use these back fingers to start dribbling the stick. So an exercise I like to do when I'm not by a drum or really don't want to annoy everybody is to turn my stick around and let the stick fall into your finger and use just your finger to dribble the stick. Great exercise for your fingers. Because your fingers are smaller muscle groups, you'll get much faster, much quicker using your fingers than trying to use your wrist at a very fast tempo. So intermediate to advanced, it becomes about the fingers and really utilizing that rebound of the drum to propel those sticks into your fingers, and you do this. So great exercises to do. You can work on your wrist strokes anytime. You don't have to be on the drum to do this. Okay? The evenness of strokes will gradually get faster as you start training your muscles. All right, so work on that, work on the levels. Be patient with yourself every day. Just do a little bit of that single stroke roll and you'll be surprised at how much faster you get over a short amount of time. But don't let yourself try to play so fast because that's not a single stroke roll. That's a single stroke roll with gravy lumps in your gravy. All right, so take your time, be very patient with yourself, and I'll see you in the next rudiment.